All right, so there are a lot of condominium communities in and around Jensen Beach and Martin County for that matter. And I'm going to go over 10 communities that I think might be of interest to you if you're thinking about buying a condominium in Jensen Beach or in and around Martin County. I'm going to start off with the most affordable community, and then I'm going to get into a really high-end community that I think might be of interest to you as well. So we're going to get right into it. My name is Alex Haigh, and I lead a trusted group of professionals that know this area through and through. Myself, I've lived here for over 20 years, absolutely love it. And if you're interested in property in Martin County, Treasure Coast, or any of the outlying areas, please give us a call, reach out, text. We would love to have a conversation with you about what's important to you in a property in and around this area. The first community we're going to talk about is Jensen Beach Club. Now, I've put a lot of people into the Jensen Beach Club. One of the things that I like about it is it's affordable, entry level, and it's right across the street from the beach. You literally can just walk right out of the entrance of the property and be at the beach. You also can walk right down to Kyle G's, which is right down the road as well. Now, the community itself is pretty cool. It has a gated entry, which is outstanding if you have that kind of security issue at all. They've got pickleball. They've got a community pool, shuffleboard. Now it's entry level at $410 a month for an HOA fee. That's not that high a fee right now, given what happened down in Surfside. So all in all, if you want to be close to the beach and you want kind of entry level, I highly suggest Jensen Beach Club. So the next community we're going to talk about is River Club. That's a shifting off of the beach, kind of a little bit closer to Stewart. There's actually a marina there. Now there's not deeded slips, but the slips you can actually lease and have a boat there. Now it's not gated entry, but there's some really great amenities there. So you have a pool, you got shuffleboard, you got that kind of stuff. You can also walk down on those docks and cast a line or go crabbing or those kind of things. You could bring your paddleboard down, drop it in the water there as well. So you're about halfway between downtown Jensen Beach and Stewart. So all in all, if you're looking for an entry-level property where you could have a boat at as well, I would say River Club is something that you might want to hone in on. The next community we're going to talk about is Beacon 21. There's a couple things that I like about Beacon 21. First is it's very affordable to get in. I mean, you could be under $300,000 getting into Beacon 21 at the time of this publishing. One other thing that I really like about Beacon 21 is it has water access as well. Now, it's not that open water like River Club. There are leased slips as well. And another thing that you want to remember or think about when you're thinking about Beacon 21 is there's a 55 and over component that's in there. So like half of the community is 55 and over and the other is open to all ages. The buildings themselves are made of frame. So what you're actually going to be a little lower cost there as well. You're going to be a lower cost for the HOA. Now they're very strong buildings. They're actually set in this little hollow. So any of the hurricanes that do come through, and we did a video on hurricanes, it happens down here, but these buildings have made it through quite a few hurricanes. And the reason for that is they're kind of in this little hollow, again, like I mentioned before. So Beacon 21 is a really good option if you want to have that lease boat slip. That's a nice option there. And or if you're 55 or over, there's that aspect of it as well. The next community we're going to talk about is Oceana. Now, one of the things that I like about Oceana is that it's a concrete block building. It's got a gated entry as well. So you're going to walk right out into the beach. And this is entry level right on the beach. So a lot of people are like, hey, I want to be on the beach, but I want to be under $500,000. Well, right now, Oceana, you can get into Oceana for under $500,000. It's got a private pool. And similar to Jensen Beach Club, you're going to be walking distance to Kyle G's. Now, Kyle G's I did in another video, but just so you know, if you didn't see that video, Kyle G's has some of the best food in town. You got steak, you got your lobster tail. It's right on the ocean, so you're looking out on the ocean. That's what Florida is all about, right? Like this beautiful water that's all around us. So Kyle G's is a great spot. Also, on Sundays, they have an incredible Bloody Mary bar. So you could be on the beach, you could walk down the beach to Kyle G's, have your Bloody Marys, and then walk back to Oceana. So for entry level, I really like Oceana. It's got a lot of accessibility, obviously, to the beach and some other things that are in the area, like you got Walgreens and you got Cumberland Farms and that kind of thing. So there's all the things that you need from those creature comforts around you at Oceana. So that's what you're looking for as far as entry level. On the beach, you're looking at Oceana. The next community we're going to talk about is Island Crest. Island Crest is a beautiful community. Now, it actually costs less to get into Island Crest than it does Oceana. The HOAs are a little bit higher. So it's kind of one of those things where you have price is what you pay, cost is what you incur after you pay. So you might want a lower price and you're willing to pay a little bit of a higher cost. So Island Crest is a great community. You're going to have the similar things. You're going to be a walking distance to Kyle G's. You're going to have all those other amenities that are around you, but it's going to be a lower price point than Oceana at a higher cost with the HOA. The buildings look very similar. There are those high-rise condos. You're walking right onto the beach. So if you want to be on the beach and you want probably the absolute best value for the price, Island Crest is what you're going to want to look at from that aspect. All right, so zooming back from the beach, we're going to be talking about the Harborage. Now, the Harborage is a newer building, built in 2006. A lot of the properties that I talked about, like Island Crest and Oceana, Beacon 21, and River Club, those were built in the 80s and the 90s. Good buildings, fine, they made it through hurricanes, they're good. The Harborage is newer, so it's 2006. The other cool thing about the Harborage is that there's a marina there, like a really, really nice new high-end marina, deep water dockage. So if you have a big boat and you want it to be right outside of your unit, the Harborage might be for you. Also, the benefits of being at the Harborage, you're literally pretty much close to right in downtown Stuart. You could take a bike and go down the Dixie Bridge, or here's a little tip for you. You could actually get on the Tiki barge, and for $10 you can ride the Tiki all day long. Now, one of the things I want you to think about with the Harborage, I just want you to know, is remember we talked about that price and that cost? Well, the price is very affordable. Like, you can get into the Harborage for under $500,000. The price is there. The cost is going to be a little bit higher because that community also encompasses the marina as well. And there's a master HOA there as well. So each building has its own little HOA and cost for that. Then there is a cost for the total community, and then there's a cost as well for the marina. So just keep that in mind when we talk about the Harborage. At all of these communities, you're going to want to balance this. So that's why you want to reach out to us and talk about, hey, what's important to you? Is it that price is hyper important to you, and or the cost after? And we have to kind of sit and talk about that and balance what's important to you. So let's get into the next one. The next community we're going to talk about is Hutchinson Island Club. Now, the Hutchinson Island Club, this might be for you if you want a condominium that has kind of a higher square footage. Now, they're going to be around 1,500 square feet, and in a condominium, a couple hundred square feet can make a huge difference. And let's talk about Hutchinson Island a little bit. So we're actually on South Hutchinson Island. There's North Hutchinson Island, which is up in Fort Pierce and Vero. We're on South Hutchinson Island, and actually half of South Hutchinson Island is in St. Lucie County and half of it is in Martin County. So all in all, Hutchinson Island Club is very similar to these other communities, but if you're looking for something that has a little bit more square footage, it has the pool, it actually has a car wash there, which, you know, you go under the car wash because remember, you're on the ocean, you're gonna get salt on your car and so forth. There's actually a little car wash there that you can go under and kind of rinse the salt off. But if you're looking for something that has a little higher square footage, then Hutchinson Island Club is probably for you. So the next community we're going to talk about is Miramar Royale. Doesn't it have a nice ring to it? Actually, Miramar means to look out onto the ocean, and that's what Miramar is. Now, also, you can look out onto the Intercoastal. Because Miramar is actually kind of angled to the side, it's not square onto the ocean, there's some units that you can see the Intercoastal and the ocean. It's a little higher square footage. So like we talked about with some of the others, depending on what's important to you, that square footage is a little bit higher, right around 1,500 square feet. The price is a little bit higher, $600,000 to $700,000, but that HOA cost is a little bit lower. So you see what we're kind of getting into. It depends on what's important to you. Price point, cost, amenities, what the building looks like. So Miramar might be for you if you want kind of that unique looking building. You might want to be looking at the ocean and the intercoastal, and if that's the case, Miramar might be for you. All right, so the last two communities I'm going to get into here are a little bit on the higher end. Now the first one is the Princess. The Princess, first of all, is a beautiful looking building. It's a little bit higher than Miramar. It's got kind of a wedge shape to it. It just has that kind of little bit of a higher end feel to it. It's right in the same price point as Miramar, and also the HOA is right in the same price point. But because it's higher, they're actually able to load in more of those costs, and they're able to dissipate it out for more of the community. So that's going to keep that HOA cost a little bit lower. Now, I want to make a kind of a comparison here, right? You know when you go to Vegas and you got Camelot, which is nice, right? Then you got MGM, which is a little bit nicer. And then you have the Wynn, which is really nice. And then you have some other super high-end stuff, which is like Sailfish Point, which I'll get into in another video. The Princess would probably be like MGM, right? Oceana and that would be more like Camelot. But you're gonna get what you pay for. And so it depends on your budget. So if your budget is still that $600,000 to $700,000, I think Princess might be a good call for you. Now, some people would say the drawback is I don't want to be in this high building, but other people want to be in a high building. So it really depends. That's why we got to have that conversation and see what's important to you. So if a little bit higher end with the cost being in a line, that might be the Princess. So the Princess might be for you. So on the highest end, now we have the Claridge, and that's just one step up from the Princess. This is the Wynn. In that analogy of the Wynn and MGM and Camelot, this would be the Wynn. Well, what do you have there? You have your own parking garage that actually is air conditioned. So your car is not going to get that salt water and all that kind of stuff on it. Moving up from there, when you go into the Claridge, it is like the lobby you come in, everything's opulent. Your elevator takes you to your private unit. So literally, your elevator, you're not walking down a hall, it takes you to your unit. There's not as many units in the Claridge, so it doesn't have that big giant condo feel. There's another really, really cool piece. In the front of the unit, there's actually guest quarters. So you could have your guests come down and stay in one of the guest quarters and not actually stay in the unit with you. Now, there's all kinds of security. All the building has been upgraded. The Claridge is the absolute jewel. Other than going down to Sailfish Point, which you're going to be talking about an equity-based community, and that's a whole different story. But if you want to be close to Kyle G's, downtown Jensen, all of that, the Claridge, you want to have that super higher end. Now that HOA cost is going to be a little bit higher. The price is going to be higher, and the HOA cost is going to be higher. But if you really want that absolute mint community, the Claridge is for you. So there are a lot of different condo communities that I didn't mention just in Jensen Beach. Then we have Stewart, then we have Palm City, then we have Port St. Lucie, we have Hobe Sound, we have South Florida. There are all kinds of condo communities out there, and there are single family home communities. We need to know what's important to you. So rather than you going out there and scrolling and researching, going to all these different websites to find out HOAs and costs and all this kind of thing, reach out to us. We'll make it easy for you. We'd love to have a conversation with you. We're just going to have a couple of questions about what's important to you, and then we can match you with the right property that fits your wants and needs. So if you like this content, please subscribe, comment. Maybe there's a condo community that you really like, you'd like to know more about, drop a comment below. Or there's a community that maybe I missed you'd like me to do a video on, I'd love to do a video on it for you. So until the next time, unless I hear from you, we'll see you on the next one.